When we have learned to utilize the rays, and when we have become open-minded enough to study the teachings offered by the Kohans of the rays in the many retreats right here on this planet, then and only then should we start dreaming of transferring our home to Venus. Naturally, no one can be blamed for desiring to escape from the earth so long as it is in its present condition. And to get it out of its present condition and restore it to its original state, which existed before the laggards came, we must have help from the space people. They are trained in handling and transmuting troubled conditions. We have not even the faintest notion of where to start. In fact, the majority of people think they are living a normal life and are not even aware that they are in difficulty. When we are able to travel the cosmic lightways, we will know it, and we can prove it scientifically, right here on Earth. We do not need to get sensational and start off on some madcap expedition in an attempt to explore outer space. Outer space has been explored thoroughly. If we want to know anything about it, we can ask the people who explored it, the space people themselves, and they are right here among us. What is this true human freedom which we are seeking? Freedom for man comes to him as a result of his using God-free energy in its natural free way. God energy, in its pure form, flows into man heartbeat by heartbeat. As the pure electrons are released by the sacred threefold flame within the heart, they enter the bloodstream. As they enter, they are immediately qualified or stamped with the pattern of the individual. They can be qualified with love, or they can be misqualified with hate. In other words, the electrons, which provide all power, can be used to carry out loving deeds, to think loving thoughts, to speak loving words, or they can be used in an opposite manner, depending upon the choice we make through the use of our free will. When man misuses this electronic power in performing hateful acts, he misqualifies the energy. In other words, he leaves his stamp of imperfection upon millions of electrons that flow into his bloodstream. This energy is God energy, and as such it must obey the free will of man, for man is God created as a free being. When man chooses to enslave this free and pure energy so that it will do his bidding and supply him with power to carry out some questionable enterprise, he thereby enslaves himself. He starts each pure electron on its way through his own bloodstream with a handicap, the weight of his own feeling of discord. The electron itself remains pure, for it is God energy and can know no impurity. But as it whirls on its course, it collects around itself a shell of impure matter, the same murky gray astral matter that the laggards brought to Earth. As it takes its appointed place with other electrons and forms an atom, the sticky substance clings, and soon the revolution of the electrons within the atom is slowed by the clogging. Then the revolution of the atom itself is slowed, and in addition, the atom collects the same astral substance on its outer shell, adding further weight. The resulting rate of electronic revolutions plus atomic revolutions, taken as a whole in a man's physical, etheric, emotional, and mental bodies, constitute what is known as his state of consciousness, or his vibratory note. If his electrons and atoms are revolving slowly, he is not only subject to disease, but he is subject to ugly delusions such as death. He begins to feel old age creeping on, and in his limited understanding, he assumes that death is not far away. He feels fearful, bereaved, and alone. He cannot understand who he is or why he is here. He has no purpose in accord with the divine plan. He is, in short, a materialist, weighed down by his own burdens of hate, which he carries right within his own atoms. He tends to be separative in relation to his God and his fellow men, because he is usually quite charmed by the amount of astral debris he has accumulated in his atomic structure. The weight of the misqualified energy he is using places him under the delusion that the rioting force within gives him power. He throws his weight around, as the popular saying goes. He likes to give orders, put people in their place, clamp down on this situation or that, and in general act like a big shot. If he happens to be a scientist seeking to ferret out the secrets of atomic power, he can only react according to the limitations he has imposed upon his own atomic structure. He therefore seeks to enslave the atom, just as he has enslaved his own atoms that he lives with each day. He can think of atomic power only in terms of fission and fusion. He wants to split the atom, to tear it apart by brute force, to strip it bare as one would strip the skin off an orange. His way is the way of hate, of fear, of snickering smugness. The individual who is not separated from his source by this barrier of astral debris within his four lower bodies works with the rays and the flames. He forms a close friendship with the seven great Elohim who built this planet, and with the seven mighty archangels and their angelic host who guard the planet and aid all persons who ask for angelic assistance. He reasons that if the Elohim constructed the planet, then he must come to an understanding with these mighty builders. He must try to learn their techniques. He must try to follow their way. Their way is the way of love. Therefore, his way must be the way of love. If he observes the work of the fission-fusion scientists, he understands that they have brought all humanity to the verge of disaster with their way of hate, of fear, of black magic. He understands that while this planet was yet a paradise, before the laggards came, the light within the atom was released in beauty, in peace, and in all the mighty strength of the One. He knows that this way of truth must once more shine upon the minds of all men everywhere, before man can release himself into freedom, before he can ascend to his home star. He knows that man can accomplish nothing in his bereaved state of loneliness, because he feels so far from his Creator. He knows that every individual must someday accept the great gift of God, the violet fire of transmutation. He knows that someday, sometime, someplace, each individual must visualize that flame sweeping through and through each atom in his four lower bodies, transmuting all electronic energy which he himself has misqualified down through countless ages of embodiments, individual by individual, until 10 billion souls have been counted. This transmuting process must go on, atom by atom, electron by electron, until all humans on this planet emerge into freedom's light, and the planet itself enters its new orbit as Freedom's Star, for that is the name written in the Book of Life for planet Earth. This is the program for the Aquarian Age. Part 3. The End of Man's Crucifixion. It has been stated by the spiritual hierarchy of this planet that had humanity been wise enough and strong enough and pure enough to have grasped the significance of the ascension of Jesus 2,000 years ago, that millions of souls would have made their ascension during the Piscean Age. Our troubles would have been over by now. The earth would have been restored to its pristine beauty. The classroom would have been filled with souls engaged in advanced evolutionary studies. The axis would have been straightened long since, and the globe under its rightful cosmic name, Freedom's Star, would be entering into its new orbit without travail.